Hello, this is Alana, and I will be presenting Team 2's third use case. So this third use case is made up of a variety of exercises, and the first one asked us to brainstorm the different data sources that we might need to support our identified use cases. So we need to identify potential internal structured and unstructured data. This could include transactional sources, operational sources, as well as consumer comments, notes, and work orders. And then we needed to identify some potential external data sources, such as social media, blogs, publicly available data, that might also be of value. So here we identified about 7 different data sources that could be used. The first is marketing research. This will allow us to see the different segments of customers we have and what campaigns they respond most strongly to. This can be gathered in the form of surveys or focus groups and could be done internally by the organization itself. Next, we have traffic. This will allow us to more effectively place our charging stations. So by observing traffic patterns, viewing traffic cam footage, we can see the best routes that people take, the ones most traveled, where our supercharger stations would have the most exposure by the right clientele, to better increase our brand recognition as well as the recognition of EVs, to make them more desirable. And then social media, allowing us to see the public's assessment of our company and learn how to better reach new customers. So monitoring hashtags, monitoring geotags, monitoring anything that mentions Tesla or electric vehicles will help us gather a better idea of the sentiment directed towards our company as well as the electric industry as a whole. Sales, this will allow us to see where our revenue streams are strongest and find potential untapped markets. So just, constantly having the most updated sales numbers to see what areas have the highest sales, what consumer group is buying the most, who's maybe considering a Tesla but didn't decide to buy one, why they didn't, and how we can turn these leads, convert them into cash. That'll be really important, and that could also be a form of internal data. Internal emissions data to allow us to see our current carbon footprint and identify areas needing improvement. So just how much we're emitting into the environment on our production, as well as the recycling of these batteries and at each of our charging stations. Are we doing our best to meet our mission of a zero emissions future? The weather, this will allow us to predict when a heavy reliance on solar energy could be problematic. A lot of these supercharger stations do rely on solar energy, but in states such as Washington, it's pretty rainy, pretty overcast. So would this be a problem? Would they still get enough solar power to generate the electricity needed? And if not, should we turn to something such as wind energy or hydro energy as one of our renewable sources? And then lastly, the EPA. This will allow us to compare our current carbon footprint against other similar companies, as well as how we align with government regulations. All right, on to the next exercise. We were asked to use the data assessment worksheets to determine the relative business value and implementation feasibility of each of the identified data sources with respect to the different use cases. So here we created this chart. Up here you can see each of our identified use cases, and down here each data source is mentioned in the previous exercise. So as the pie chart fills up even more, that indicates that that data source will make it feasible to complete that specific use case. So in marketing researches, for example, conducting our marketing research will make it even more feasible to increase our customer attraction and retention by better understanding our customers. So as you can see, each of our data sources covers at least one of the use cases pretty thoroughly. So all of this data would be a great source if we could get our hands on all of it. Exercise 7 asked us to use the prioritization matrix to rank each use case vis-a-vis business value and implementation feasibility over the next 9 to 12 months. So as you can see here, we created another chart. We denoted each use case with a letter and plotted that letter on this chart. Our y-axis here is business value from low to high, and our x-axis implementation feasibility. So the further this way we go, the more feasible it's going to be to implement that strategy, that use case. But the higher up we go is the more value it's going to add to Tesla as a whole. So as you can see, F, increasing attraction and retention, is probably going to increase our business value the most, but it might not be quite as feasible as, say, increasing energy storage potential at A. And then lastly, you're asked to create a big data strategy document based on the information from the previous exercises in this show. So here's ours. So see here, it's a really great visualization of all that we've discussed, and a great way to kind of graph out our goals in a neat, clean graphic. So up here we have our initiatives: increasing the number of charging stations, improving sustainability efforts to align with our consumers' ideals, and increasing the attractiveness of Tesla's products. And then we have our desired outcomes: developing customer movement tracking and codifying it into a prediction model, and then building charging stations in the most efficient and customer accessible locations. And then we have our CSFs: expanding customer data collection points, leveraging local infrastructure, integrating customer-specific insights into management and operational systems. And then here we have listed out our use cases one more time, and then those data sources we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, along with each of those examples that were given on how that data could be collected and how and where that data could be collected from. And that is all. Thank you so much. Have a great day.